It's right here, joke alert. Okay, anyways, so here we go. What do you do? Have a highlighter or two ready. What do you do if there's no pair? Because if there's a pair, we use sine law, but what if there's no pair? So here it is. I left a few spaces blank. So there's two scenarios. There's a scenario where, draw this triangle. There's a scenario we call SAS. Emphasis on the fact that A is in between, right? So you might have this side, there might be a number there might be a number here, and you also know the angle that is sandwiched between those two. Okay? Do you see a pair happening here at all in this scenario? No. So that's SAS, okay? The other one that we're going to study is the one where you know all three sides. Okay? So this is the side, side, side. You can't miss it. It's very obvious. Okay? And you cannot solve, it's impossible to solve A. Some students ask, what about the all angles? You can't do it. You need to know at least one side for you to be able to solve for other things on that triangle, okay? So there's no case for that. How many cases worked for sine law? Do you remember? Remember the three cases? I give you like pictures. There were three cases. You might have forgotten. Good thing we have notes, right, on page 4. Keep your finger on this, but page 4 has the three cases. 3 cases work for sine law, and only 2 work for cosine law. So it is normal. It's normal to use sine law more often than cosine law. It is normal, okay? It's because sine law works for more cases than cosine law. So here are the formulas, and I want you to look at the pattern, okay? So for SAS, okay, so let's assume we know this side, we know that side, and we know the angle that's sandwiched in between. You know that it's not a pair, you know it's not sine law, you have to use this. The only thing you can solve for in this case is the side that's across the angle that you know. That's the only thing you can do at this point. And here's where I'm going to use a different color for you, okay? This is how we start. We start saying this. Go all the way to the left here because you're going to run out of room if you don't. If A squared is going to be equal to the two sides that you do know, squared and added. That's what cosine law says. And you're like, that's Pythagorean theorem, right? Not so fast. Then there's this part, minus 2 times B, like the first side that we've used, times C, times cosine of that angle that we know, which is angle capital A. Okay? That is cosine law in a nutshell right there. SAS. So I will say you should have, cosine law under your trig section, and then side angle side, and then there's going to be side on the right side of this page. But I want you to notice the pattern. Okay, what is the pattern? Like, let's say, for example, I would like to know, like, we know this side, and the angle in between there. We know angle B. How would this start? This would start as follows. B squared is equal to, so remember, if the side that you want to find out, you cover it up, and what are you left with? A and C, correct? So you would go A squared plus C squared minus 2 times what? A, right? Times C times cosine of capital B. So that's a pattern I want you to see that in order to find side B, you must know angle B. You must know the angle across from it. Can you write this out? This is your task right now. If I wanted to figure out side C, this one right here, what would the rest of this look like? Can you just give it a try before I continue? Okay, so here I want side C, so I'm left with A and B. Those are the two sides I would need to know. So it's 2 times A times B times cosine of angle C. I don't need you to have all 3 versions of this. I would honestly say just have the one version in there, and that's good, okay? One more thing that I would like you to add to your study sheet. If you're doing the SAS, in order, like under this one, right? In order to find A, you're gonna have to square root at some point, okay? Must use square root. Okay, that's gonna be part of using SAS list formula. At some point, you're gonna have to square root whatever this is, okay? And I know this is somewhat, maybe a little intimidating, guys, but all of these are gonna be numbers. Every single one here is gonna be a number. So you just have to type it into your calculator and boom, you're gonna get your answer, okay? Next, side, side, side. Okay, so you know all 3 sides. And this is where it gets tricky. If you know all 3 sides, you may choose which angle you want to solve for. So you have to be careful. Let's say we want to solve for angle A. That's our question mark there. We would start as follows. Start all the way to the left, right against this line. Okay, cosine of A. If angle A is what you want, you have to start like this. Is equal to. Make a long line like this. It kind of spans the whole thing here. And the pattern is going to be as follows. You're going to add 2 sides, but this is the most important one. You're going to subtract the side that's opposite angle A. What side is opposite angle A? Lowercase a, right? So you must make sure you subtract and square it. Make sure you write that down. And then you're left with the other 2 sides. So it's b squared plus c squared. And in the denominator, it's 2 times the first side here, b, times the second side, c. And make sure right now you look up one more time and know that it's b squared plus c squared minus a squared. There's no multiplication at the top. It's adding then subtracting. And in the denominator, it's 2 times b times c. Like it's these 2 sides show up again. Must use cosine inverse. Okay, this is at some point you're going to have to use the inverse to solve. Okay. Let's do the other versions because before I start working with them, I need you to understand the pattern. So let's say the question says solve for angle B. You would start like this. Cosine of angle B, use a capital, is equal to, you draw your line, and please first start with the, like it's counterintuitive, but I'm going to ask you to start at the back here. We're going to go minus, if it's angle B that you're trying to find, then we're going to take the side across from it, subtract it. And what are you left with? If B is already used up, it doesn't show up again. Look at this up here. A is used here, it doesn't show up anywhere else. So if B is used up, you're left with A and C, right? So it's A squared plus C squared minus B squared. and then it's 2 times A, right, the first one, times C. Try it one more time on your own. If I said, hey, try to find angle C, what would the right side look like? What would this side look like? So start with the line, fill in the rest. Try to do it in a minute or less.